So, and I would love the answers to this question to be very specific to something you've done or something you know, and one specific, concise thing that you can share, which I think would be really valuable to this audience. And that is, once you've compiled this list of companies, what are key steps to make initial contact and get the resume in the door? So how does that resume actually reach the people who have the hiring power? Who wants to take it first?
Well, I'll take the easy one before anyone else does.
Sure.
Search your network. Do you know anyone at that company? Look on LinkedIn, look on Facebook, reach back into your email database, even that guy you hated at your last job, but you know he went on to that company. Maybe he's good for something after all, right? That would be the first step.
And that underscores the story I told at the beginning, the guy I knew who found people he knew through his LinkedIn network, even if they were not immediate contacts, but he linked to them and he said, hey, I'd love your help. I'm trying to get into this company. Who do you know? People respond. So, Sean, do you want to add?
Brian, you pointed out that LinkedIn has the corporate profiles, company profiles up there.
Yes.
And if I'm remembering correctly, there's also a listing of people's individual employee profiles who are hit often. So if you don't know, go there and find the people that are hit often. They are likely to be responsive to you.
Brian? Dissent is good.
Just because the person is, so from a metric standpoint, that person is the most clicked.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're the most active. So you
good point.
could be just in a high demand, you may have a high demand skill set. So one of the most popular individuals on JP Morgan's page is an exotic trader. You know, so what is it that guy really the most popular, or everyone says an exotic trader, what's that? Click. You know, so that's...
Okay, so we've got some nuance here.
You know, so, you know, company
Hire him
page...
for my bachelorette party.
Like, does that bring the snip? Well, forget it. I digress. So, but the company profiles are very important, and the reason why is because it gives you a good representation of what your network is. What most people don't realize about a LinkedIn company profile page, it dynamically changes based on who's looking at it. So when I look at a page, I see different people because my network is different than yours. So the people will be in your first, second, or third degree. If you don't have anyone, let's say you just started LinkedIn or you don't have many connections, we'll still give you the top 5 people of current employees, former employees. Personally, I start out with former employees because I want the real deal.
Okay.
So that gives me the skinny, and I reach out to the individual, and I either, you know, I send an email or whatever, and I ask, I just want to learn about the culture of the company. Would you interact with me on that? Because you're not asking them for anything personally. Usually people love to talk about themselves and their experiences. I know I do. But yeah, so that's a really low impact way of reaching out to someone. Just tell me about the culture of the company.
And what I hear you're describing, Brian, is informational interviews, right? More or less?
I try not to call it an informational interview.
Why not? What?
It becomes so formal. I really want something off the cuff. I don't want someone on guard when they speak with me.
Oh, sure.
I want sincere interaction.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
And that's, you know, all my messaging is all 1, 2, 3 sentences.
Sure.
I want someone to respond to me and don't think that I'm selling them or I'm trying to be.
Sure. Says the sales guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Rose, you wanted to add?
Well, you can go on the website, but I do agree with what you say. When you contact an individual, let's say it's a Fortune 500 company, and you're curious about the company, and that's wonderful, but the first rule of thumb you really shouldn't do is ask them, do you know of any jobs available? Because then they know you want something. Explore the company. And then about 1 or 2 conversations later, who do I contact to be a part of this company? Let me tell you something. Our president, we have 2 presidents, City Habitats and Corcoran. It's very interesting because they will contact the presidents of the company and they're impressed. And they will send it to us and say, you know, this person is very interesting. Let's interview them. So there's roundabout ways, and they don't find it offensive. And when you contact them, they're very honored.
Terrific. Anyone burning to add anything to that?
Well, I just want to mention, and I know everyone will groan when they hear the idea of cold calling, and it doesn't work for most people. But I did have a client who was in sales, and part of the thing about sales is you have to get in, you have to have a conversation with the top people. And his strategy was he identified the top people at the kinds of companies he wanted to work for in sales, and he called them, and he had his spiel, and he prepared it, and he got like 10 interviews.
It really can
Really
work,
senior
yeah.
people. Yeah. So you got to think about what you're good at and what the approach should be for you.
And I would just
Sure,
say one
Sean.
small thing. Do be educated and prepared.
Oh, yeah.
Please. Don't call somebody, can you help me? You really know who you're talking. Google the person you're talking to. Find out. Go on LinkedIn. I mean, there are lots of ways. Don't, either on the phone when trying to make that first attempt, or worse, in an interview, don't go in front of somebody and not know who you're talking to, and not be knowledgeable about the organization and what value you are going to be bringing to them. Yes, you have to be happy there too, but you're selling,
Absolutely.
okay? You are selling.
Terrific. Absolutely.
Or from your experience. Can I just share
Yeah.
how I ended up at Corcoran?
No. No, nobody wants to hear that.
No, I'm gonna tell you. Also, community involvement. It's very interesting because I attended a softball game on Roosevelt Island, and I worked for a competitor. Again, human resources and real estate. I never like to give the competitor the accolades. But Pam Liebman, our president, happened to be there, Barbara Corcoran, and they said, we were losing. And they said, how would you like to come on the winning team? And I said, sure. And lo and behold, 4 interviews later, because of community involvement, networking again, I'm here. And
Wonderful. That's a great story. Softball, you said?
yeah, I wasn't playing, I was
great, yeah,
cheerleading.
A great swing.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. That's terrific. I love stories like that. What is just one single step that a job seeker should take to uncover jobs in their industry of interest? One single step.
Read.
Read. Oh,
That's
I love
nice.
it. Read.
Yes.
Read. Beautiful.
I'll go back
Pam?
and hammer on that. Get involved in your industry. Join the trade association. Go to a conference.
Yep.
Get out there and meet people who are in the business that you're in or want to be in.
Wonderful.
I would say find out who is getting investment money. If a company is getting money from somewhere, they will be hiring soon afterwards. So if you are right on top of that,
Great.
get in right then.
That's a great.
Okay. Terrific. Brian, you have one?
I think reading was about as succinct as you can get.
Okay. All right. Rose?
Read, but there's other periodicals out there. Cranes produces a list of the top Fortune 500 companies. Look at them. They tell you about if they have daycare and so forth and flex hours, and it's wonderful. If that company fits you, go for it. Send your resume in. Find somebody in the company and go after it and see who you know.
I'm going to add one thing because I just wrote this book and it's mainly for introverts, which is truly play to your strengths. So if you're more somebody who is a people person, get out there and network physically. You show up in rooms. If you're better at writing, then write for a company newsletter. Send out notes to people. Email marketing. There are many things you could write. If you're better as a speaker, get yourself, like let's say in one of these professional organizations, host a committee, give a talk on your area of expertise. Whatever it is, play to your strengths. Don't just say, I'm lousy at networking. That doesn't work. Figure out what you are good at and do that. We all have things we're good at.